If you want an easy life, then go be normal. If you are willing to take on the challenges and difficulties of life, think ready to be remembered. Hey, this is your Stronger Coach, Ryan Mathias from MathiasMethod.com, back with another monotone talk on how to get stronger. Today we're going to review some of the lists from the 2016 Grass Valley Open Championships. This is just a small meet held at my home gym, Ironworks, up in Grass Valley, and it was done for the Kids Fitness 247 charity. Now these are just some short clips that we're going to be capturing basically just the lift, so we're going to put it to slow-mo for you and focus on just giving each of the lifters about one or two things to work on from what we see. Let's get right into it. This is our first lifter here, Sonny, and Sonny's a pretty strong guy. Just one thing I want him to work on more so is foot placement. You can see his feet are turned out quite a bit. He's doing quite a bit of wobbling just in the setup. So if we can get him to be a little more tight before he does, and you can see he drops down pretty fast there too and also blows it up pretty well. But if he can get more tightness, I feel like he could probably throw up over 400 pounds, if not 450, here in the next couple months coming up. But it's a nice strong lift that he did there. I'm not sure if that was PR or not, but that was a good lift for Sonny. Next we're moving on to Bryn. Bryn is also very impressive with his strength. He was in the 181 class, but I believe he weighs quite a bit less than that. Doing 385, that's quite a bit of weight for his size, and that's very impressive. You can see he's doing a high bar here, just setting up. And same sort of thing with Sonny. You're going to see a lot of these, kind of the same thing happen with most of these guys here. It's just I'd rather them be more tight in most of their positioning. So he's going with the high bar, which is totally okay. It fits his leverages, but you're going to see Bryn here kind of does something a little bit funny with his head. He goes down. As he's going down, everything looks pretty good, but then he starts to come up. He's really arching that head and kind of puts his back out of position. He gets that sticking point. You see he's just kind of sitting there, but he's still grinding through and pressing. His knees kind of cave in a little bit so we can get him to throw those knees out, but I'd really like him to fix his head position. And as you see, as he came up, he stepped forward a little bit, but again, that was a good lift for Bryn right there, and it's a very strong lift. Next lift we're going to here, I believe is Rocky, wearing the Mathias Method shirt. Thank you very much, Mr. Rocky. And Rocky's a very strong lifter. I've been, I don't want to say working with, but working alongside Rocky here for a couple months now. He's been blowing up some weights, doing some really good PRs in the gym. And I believe he's been working with the Bulgarian style method, which is a great method if you like that high volume. That seems to work out really well for him, and it's been doing great. So I wish him the best with that. And you can see he's taking his time set up here, which is perfect, just what he does. Every single lift that Rocky does, he does it as perfectly as possible, which is what we want to see every lifter do if they can, is try to make it as perfect as possible. Everything's tight. And good foot position, good squat down. You see the knees are being thrown out, nice and deep. Goes up with it, blows it up. Of course, he got that sticking point, but still he grinds right through as we do with most of these maximal lifts. Everything still looks pretty good. We don't see any caving into the knees or anything, so that's a good strong lift for Rocky. Very proud of him to be hitting that weight. Especially he's also in the 181 class, but again, I believe he's a bit lower than that. So that was a good lift for Rocky. Moving on to the next is bench press, and here's Bryn again. First thing we see, this is 265 pounds with Bryn. That's very strong for his size, but we want to get his chest a little bit higher if we can, and his hips. You can see his hips are staying down nicely, that's good, but his legs aren't really being used, so it's a little bit wobbly at the base. Can't really see the legs very well, but we know that if he just kind of push those knees out and press maybe his feet in the ground a little better, get a little bit more of an arch in his chest, he could probably press about 300 pounds really. And here we go, we see a little bit of shake from Sonny, but Sonny is very strong presser. Actually, he's about a 300 pound presser, and his movement is pretty good. But once you see this weight come out here and he starts to press, his knees kind of cave in and they get a little bit wobbly as he's doing the movement. So if we can just get him a little more tight in the legs, I feel like he can throw up even more weights here coming up. He's got a nice strong press. Elbows kind of stayed out and wobbled a little bit, but that's okay. That's a good press for him. Good lift. Move on to the next lifter, eventually. Oh, going on to deadlift now. Here's Rocky. Rocky again, hitting quite a few PRs at this meet. I believe this is his first attempt, 365 pounds. And you see he's squatting quite a bit down, but he's not actually pulling from that squatted position. He's getting into that position, then puts his hips up before he actually starts putting a lot of pressure on it to really pick the weight up. So that's kind of the way he sets up and gets in position. Looks good to me. Nice strong lift, getting the leg drive in there. Knees stay out the whole time. Everything's flat, not wobbling around. So that was a good lift for Rocky. Of course, he's doing all these lifts belt lifts as well. Here's Rocky, again, with 405 pounds. Jumping up from that 365 attempt he did. You can see he's getting tight from the top. That's very good. Grabbing the bar, make sure everything feels perfect before he lifts it. Hands getting set into the bar. Feet set. And he's pulling his legs in, squatting down just to get that tightness, pulling the bar into him. As the hips come up, then he starts to pull the weight, keeps it against him nice and tight. Stays tight as he stands up. Nice strong lift for Rocky, pushing the hips through. And of course lowers it with the same perfection as he pulls it up. So that's another great thing about Rocky with his lifts. Here's Jake. You're going to see Jake does a little bit of a different technique. First of all, he's doing sumo. We can see that. He's got a nice stance for sumo for what he's doing. What I would like to see from him, though, of course, you're going to see him do a little grab and go lift. So as soon as he grabs the bar, he's going to pull it. But I want him to get more tight in the bottom if we can. So you'll see once he gets down there, the bar is actually a little bit away from him as he's pulling it where it needs to be pulled into him. He grabs, bars away from him, shakes away, kind of pulls him out of position. And eventually with those really heavy weights, it's going to really pull him out of position. So it's going to kind of plateau him. So what we need to do is get more tightness, try to have those shoulders rotated, elbows kind of tucked in. Well, they're still straight, of course, but trying to put the lats into the movement more. And then here's Bryn again, going with nice heavy deadlift. I believe this is a PR, and again he's going beltless too. This is a great amount of strength for what he's got, and I believe this is maybe a 20-pound PR for him. I'm not really sure, but what I'd like to see is him not sit in the bottom position so long. You can see his back's already rounded, and when he pulls from a little bit better position, but you can see it's just sitting in that position just kind of puts all his muscles a little bit laxed. And we want to get them all really tight. See, he tightened up a little before he pulled, but still a little bit rounded. We need to get that bar into him better. But he pulled it up actually quite fast and easy. I feel like he can do almost maybe even 450 on that day if we get some more tightness, pulling the bar into him, and everything tight from the top. But that was a nice strong lift from Bryn. We're moving on here to Jake again. He again goes with that grab and go technique, which is just fine, just as long as you can. It's more of an advanced technique, so you want to make sure you try to get everything really tight as you are going through the lift. So everything's set up nicely. It takes his time to set up. Sees where he wants to put his hands before he gets in that position. And as soon as he is ready, deep breath, reach down, grab, and goes right from it. But again, you're going to see that bar come away from him a little bit. He'll struggle a little bit more with this one. It's good. You see him getting tight at the top. Grab. As soon as you grab, sometimes that messes up your grip too. Goes a little bit away from him, then it pulls back into him as he's trying to press his hips through. A little bit rounded in the back, but that's okay as it was a maximal weight. Hips nicely pushed through. Comes back down. I'd like to also see him stay tight with the same thing with most of these lifters, stay tight on the way down as well as the way up. So that's really where you get the technique work in, is going down. Here's Sonny. Nice strong lift. You can see the bar was a little bit away from him when he started that pull. We want to try to get those lats in the position a little better. Of course, this is being done beltless, which is pretty great. And also, this is the first time he's done a heavy deadlift like that without straps, he said. So it's the first time he's really done a mixed grip. He never even tried a mixed grip before, and he did it for a major PR there. Now we get the death walk here from Rocky as he gets set up for quite a bit of a PR here with the deadlift. I believe this is a 30-pound PR for him. After he already got that 405-pound squat earlier and 405 deadlift, now he's hitting a nice beltless, of course, PR with the deadlift here, 435. Takes his time to set up, which we like to see. We'll see he'll make sure that everything feels perfect before he pulls the weight. Takes a deep breath, get tight at the top, get his lats into the movement, bend just mostly from the hips. Grab the bar. Once he does, he's going to lock it up, pull himself into that squat position with everything being tight. pull his hips up a little bit. Well, there's getting tension out of the bar. So there's leg straight, pulls in. He's getting tension out of the bar at this point. Does a little bit of a pull, hips are up, and then starts to actually do the pull, trying to press the hips through the whole time. This is a nice grinder of a lift right here for him, but still you can see his back stays in a fairly good position. He doesn't actually round over a lot, which you see sometimes people do with the lifts, as they tend to round over quite a bit with the maximum weights, especially when they're beltless, but he pulled through very strong. And again, he's using like the Bulgarian method, which is very high frequency, so he's practicing this technique over and over again all the time. So it's a great thing. It was a great meet to see all these guys and pulling all their weights and everything, and it was great fun to be there. Afterwards, we had a nice little curl competition too, if you want to go back and see that from the last video. Well, that's all for me. Talk to you guys next time. Thanks for watching the last video, guys. Make sure you please give us a like and a share. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Mathias Method. Also go over to Facebook, give us a like over there, and check out the new Stronger store on MathiasMethod.com, where you can find all the information you need to grow stronger today. Talk to you next time.